Hi, welcome to Digging into the Future. This is Lynn Smullen, your host for today. And with me, I am so excited to share my dear friend, Jonathan King from Switch. Jonathan.
Great to be here. Great to be here, Lynn.
Aloha.
Yeah. Aloha.
How's your
Aloha.
Hawaiian spirit this time?
As always, I'm energized being
Excellent.
here. Yeah.
And
Another January in Hawaii for PTC.
Right. And how is that?
Yeah.
How is that?
It's
run?
awesome. Yeah.
How many times? I was thinking about this. You and I.
Yeah.
First off, we've known each other for a couple of
15
decades.
years.
Yeah.
No, longer.
Almost.
Because of Verizon. Yeah.
Verizon.
Yeah.
How many times have you been coming to PTC?
So I missed a couple, but it's
Okay.
basically it's 15 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
And
That's amazing.
it's fun to see the transformation
Yeah.
because it's almost like a kind of core sample of where the industry has been and where it's going, and it's such a fantastic event, just on its own. But it's actually a very consequential conference every year. It's becoming more so.
It's such a great observation. You're right. Because in the beginning, PTC was started 48 years ago. Can you
Wow.
believe that? 48 years. It'll be
Yeah.
our 50th in 2 years. It was started, and it was all about voice exchange, traffic. Went into subsea,
Yep.
then went into networking and IP,
Yep.
data centers,
Yep.
cloud,
Financing.
financing, power, AI.
Yeah.
It's incredible change.
No, when you think about the panel I was on previously, we were talking about behind the meter power, right? So, natural
Right.
gas and other sources of behind the meter power. A year ago, that was just barely a discussion. And this year, it's a very busy topic of discussion, as are many others. And if I look back when I first came, circa 2011, 12, like 12, that time period, we were talking about undersea cables
Right.
and
Yeah.
terrestrial lines,
Right.
and it was all pretty much entirely a network discussion. And then you watch the journey here, the diaspora. So we're here at the Hilton, right?
Right.
So this is the network,
Core
tribe.
right?
And then you go down and there's the Halakalani and it's the banking.
Yes.
And then you go to the Moana and it's
Right.
hyperscale. And then they're staying everywhere now.
Right.
So
It's such an amazing environment, but
Yeah.
boy, so meaningful for all of us who've been in it for so long.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you, both personally, but also in your role at Switch? But let's start with the personal level. What does it mean? What has PTC meant to you today?
Well, I think I think everyone goes through this common journey with PTC,
okay.
where you're at a company and you go to and so I've come here when I was at CenturyLink, when I was at Worldwide Technology, when I was at Ericsson, when I was at Google,
Oh,
and now when I'm at Switch. So I've had 5 different companies.
and you've been
And I was
to
trying to
PTC
think
at
if
all
I
of
came
them?
here with Verizon, but I don't think I came until I got to CenturyLink.
Okay.
But so you go to your team and you're
Right.
like, I have to go to Hawaii in January. And then the instant reaction is, what are you talking about? Right? Like, no, you're not like, but so then you go, right? You get
Right.
through that and then you bring your boss, you bring your team, and they're like, oh my gosh, this conference is amazing.
Right.
Because everyone's starting their year, it's in Hawaii, and there's an ecosystem here of people like ourselves who've been here for a long time, and our careers have grown as we've been here, right? So like we've had different jobs, I've had different jobs, like we've been on a journey, and then we get to see each other. So I know I'm going to see you every
Exactly.
January,
Right.
right? And then we see everyone else, and then we basically like take over part of a town. So like we're walking down the street, like getting a latte, and it's like, hey, it's like
Yeah.
a Hollywood cast where everyone's like it's like all these people walking around a town that you don't live in, but you
Right.
feel like you know it. So like at a
It's
personal
Jim
level,
Carrey movie.
it is. It's like a technology movie comes to Hawaii, and so you just walk. Like I'll walk from here back to the Halakalani, and I promise I'll see 5 or 6 people
That's so amazing.
between here and there.
Right.
Same with like I'm not as known as you.
Oh.
So you would see like 30 people. They would stop traffic.
That's not
Yeah.
true, by the way.
Yeah, it's truly. So no, but PTC's great, and that's my advertisement for it, personally and professionally, because I think it's a chance that you get to network, you get to meet, you get to see into different industry trends. It's invaluable. Like any stage in your career, but especially like earlier on when there's a great women in tech forum here.
Yes.
It's like one of the best I've ever seen, right?
Amazing.
You
Yes,
like
it's
it's an
amazing.
amazing
WTF,
group, right?
fantastic,
So
absolutely.
like, and all these other,
Yeah.
we do something with iMasons where
Yes.
we have Nick Nicklin on our team is part of the veteran
Yes. Yeah.
panel, right? Giving back to those in service
Mhm.
and trying to talk. Like, so there's so many offshoots of those kinds of events. We did the PTC, what was
Beyond.
Beyond.
We did the Beyond,
right?
which is the next generation
Which is
of
the
leaders.
next generation.
Absolutely.
So it's all of these programs that PTC sponsors. It's really a well-done event.
What I love most about it is, and you talked about this, like the interconnectedness between personal and professional,
Yeah.
because relationships are ultimately what
Yeah.
we're all about, personal and professional.
Yeah.
And as you said, it feels like coming home. Even though it's not physically our home, it becomes
Yeah.
our home because our heart is here with each other in the business that we do together.
Yeah. Well,
right?
that time again of the year, here we are, and it's really it's a unique conference at a unique time
Mhm.
of the year,
Right.
in a unique place. I mean,
Right.
everyone likes Hawaii, but I think you bring all that together. It's really a great recipe.
It's such
Plus,
a
it's a very well-run event. Like,
It is. Exceptionally, the Secretariat has been
Yeah.
really perfected it and done a phenomenal
Yeah.
job. And now as we go forward, where do you see PTC's role? I mean, because we've had so much change in our industry, right? Just in the
Yeah.
last 2 years with AI. And
Yeah.
like you said, who would have thought that energy companies would be here at PTC with us now?
Yeah.
Last thing we would have thought.
Yeah.
Where do you see us going next? If you're looking forward?
I mean, there's already a lot going on.
Right.
So I think a lot of it is just, honestly, the scale of everything has changed.
Mhm.
And we were talking about the number of attendees here.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a bridge from one topic to the next. But it's, you look at PTC, when we first came, it was a couple thousand people. And it was just, it had a different feel, right?
Totally.
And it was great, and it's still great.
Right.
But now you have, there's a much different scale here, right? And it's the same thing is true in, at least now, we have a network team that's here. They've been coming for 2 decades, and it continues to be really their primary conference.
Right.
But now it's our primary conference for data center planning with our customers, with our investors,
Completely.
increasingly with our power providers, with our suppliers. That's another constituency now. So
element of
supply
that.
chain element
Right.
is here. So
Chip companies are here. NVIDIA,
absolutely.
like AMD.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's one of the primary conferences of the whole year.
Totally.
Without a doubt.
The one thing I think that people don't realize, and you touched on it, but I'm not even sure you do. You probably do
Yeah.
though. PTC's a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So unlike any other conference in our industry, it's a nonprofit, and our mission is to better the lives of those in the Pacific,
Yeah.
period. And we have still stood by that mission. So all of the great things, the programs, all also go back into research programs and education programs
Fantastic.
that we do. And so
Yeah.
we just launched last year and this year, it was our second year with Columbia University, a miniature expedited MBA program for 3 days where we had members bring in.
Remember you telling me about this last year.
It's phenomenal.
And it's launched now.
Totally launched. We had second cohort, 25 folks, great leaders from across our industry who are really the next generation of leaders that we will want
That's
to take
great.
our roles as we move forward. So excited we're doing that. We're also doing some exciting things, as you said, with PTC Beyond, which is the college and coming forward and expanding into an internship program. So really looking for ways to give back to the communities that we're in and the communities we serve all throughout Pacific Rim, but also globally.
That's amazing.
So,
Well, you have PTC'DC.
Thank
Yeah.
you. We do have PTC'DC. PTC'DC.
I couldn't make it, but
You should come.
yeah.
It's right there in the shadow of the Washington Monument.
Okay.
And really, actually, it's quite I'll tell you the other thing that's unique about PTC, the attendees, is we have government leaders of pretty high stature globally showing up from Australia, Japan, the US, the United Kingdom, parts of Europe, parts of Latin America, and coming together to be part of and collaborate with across our industry of digital infrastructure in ways that I've never seen in our 20, we'll just say 20 plus years in the industry. So, I know, right? I can't believe time flies when you're having a wonderful time.
It is. It is.
Speaking of having a wonderful time, how many years have you been at Switch now?
4.5. Just about 4.5.
It's fast.
That's gone by
Yeah.
fast. I have a
And-
college degree now. Yeah.
Tell me what your current, well, you're Chief Revenue Officer at Switch. You have
So I
quite,
started as Chief Revenue
Okay.
Officer, and then really got to a point where we were scaling sales,
Mhm.
and then now I'm Chief Business Officer. So it's looking at
Excellent.
really, delivering the business to our customers, right?
Mhm.
So, of course, thinking about sales, thinking about marketing, but increasingly now power, supply chain,
Mhm.
development, and really where our customers are going, and
Okay.
how we can create the best integrated experience for them.
So really
Yeah.
oriented towards their success and outcomes
Yeah,
beyond the sale, right? Well
absolutely.
beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Right.
working on projects over multiple years involving very large investments by everyone involved, ourselves, um, the ecosystem around us, our customer's customer. There's it's a very big effort, and you have to have a level of understanding of engineering, of sales and relationship, of finance. I mean, it's utility. I mean, it's the entire gamut, and it's back to scale, right?
Right.
So when Rob Roy started Switch in 2000 and built an amazing company, and I had known of and admired Switch and Rob and what they had done, and had stayed in touch with him over the years.
Yeah.
And then when I was at Google, we stayed in touch. We were just staying in touch. He's like, okay, we have to find a path. And I went and saw one of his campuses I hadn't seen before up in Reno. And, it was like, okay, wow, I have to go do this. And at that point in time, I could see that there was a dislocation between public cloud. This is all the way back in 2021.
Public cloud.
Circa 2021, right? Not like 4.5 years
Right.
ago. And at that point, there was this wave of cloud first, and everyone was going to just go to the cloud. And there was all this underinvestment in data center capacity of all shapes and sizes for enterprise, hyperscale. And so I saw this opportunity where I thought it was underinvested, and I was very interested in power and renewables, and I always liked Rob, so it was an opportunity to go, and I go way back in data center land. I was, an executive at Exodus back in the day, and
You were at Exodus?
Oh yeah,
I did not know you were
yeah.
at Exodus.
So I was VP of channels and ecosystem at Exodus way back when. And so I had a front row seat to all of that. And so I had sort of gone on and done managed services and cloud, and I was like, okay, data center was cool. I always loved data center, but I'm doing
Going
cloud
up the
now.
stack.
And but seeing the amazing company that Rob and the team built, and just really a dislocation in the market some people were like, are you sure you're making the right decision? Why are you leaving cloud and going to data center? It was sort of this whole thing. And I was like, oh no, I'm good. But I didn't anticipate what was coming, because it was, and there were some other just life balance things. I was thinking, okay, I can go after working at Google straight through the pandemic, where it was just nonstop work. I had to schedule sleep. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go chill out. I'm gonna go, and that lasted for 60 days.
I do not equate chilling out and Rob Roy and Switch and the Switch organization.
No, it's nonstop.
No.
Yeah, it's the pace of growth that we've done since then is it's amazing.
Well, you all, since the beginning of when I was touring Switch facilities, when you and I were with Lumen, and even before then, or CenturyLink, I was always impressed with the innovation and the constant drive and innovation in anything within the data center and how it's operated and externally. Where are you guys in that cycle? What are some of the exciting things that you either have done or that you can tell us about that you're working on?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's Rob had built he has hundreds of patents already. This is circa 21, right? Where he had a process patent, and Switch was known as the high density leader because of his T-SCIF, hot aisle, cold aisle separation, really the entire system. And there's the thought and care that goes into it is it's mind blowing. Well, what was really amazing to see this time is that and Jason Hoffman's over there working. This is the third time, so we have a team where there's great talent that was there at Switch, and now with Scale, we've been bringing other team members in, and we've been through different cycles before. So we remember the transition to public cloud, and like we knew in 22 and 23 we could see that it was changing, that the whole paradigm was changing, and we had capacity we could sell to meet the density of like 50 kW,
Right.
very high density,
Right.
but we knew what was coming after it. So it was effectively a complete surge of innovation, an entirely new design of hybrid air and liquid cooling. I mean, 100 different things that we did. Like, we've built a digital twin. It's most of the advanced, if not the most advanced digital twin, using NVIDIA Omniverse of our new design. We deployed it, with customers and iterations, and now we're deploying it at scale. Innovations in supply chain, iterations in generation. It's every day. It's just a constant drive. It's fun. Yeah.
But that seems that's been always part of you, and the you I know is always pushing the envelope for innovation, trying to do something even better and stretch further.
Yeah.
When you look forward, let's put our little crystal ball out there.
Yeah.
When you look forward over the next, let's just say 2 years, because there's so much that's changing right now.
Yeah.
What do you see in the landscape of our industry? Where do you see that will be in 2 years?
I think it's sort of an aside. Like, I was asked we had a panel earlier, and there was a question like, where are things going to go? And then the panelists didn't ask me that question. So I'm going to pretend like you asked me that question and like what I was going to say. And part of it was like, imagine you had like a Rip Van Winkle, and like you went to sleep in 21 and then you woke up in 26, right? Like, so just 5 years ago.
Totally.
And you would be blown away at the billions of dollars of infrastructure and the scale of what's happening.
$7.5 trillion by 2030.
But you would just look at these projects. Like, when I started, we were selling, we have great enterprise business, small, medium, and large, right? And a large deal for us was like a 5 megawatt deal. We were, we were super excited about. Like, we have like hundreds of megawatts deals, gigawatts deals, and so that would be like, okay, wait. But then if you just go over to OpenAI, Sora, or Gemini, and you just type in a sentence and say, make me a video. My wife's had this joke of like, the old Dunkin' Donuts commercial, time to make the donuts.
Oh yeah.
So like, when I'm traveling or when I'm working, she's like, I get up at 4 a.m. and I got to fly across the country. She's like, time to make the donuts, right?
I totally dig her.
So the other day she said, she made a pun on it. She said, it's time to make the robots. and sort of like a slip, but because like I was like, did you say robots? She's like, yeah, it's time to make the robots to make the donuts. And I was like, that's good. And so I went to that case, it was Gemini, and I typed in, make a video clip of a donut store owner with robots making coffee and donuts and saying it's time to make the robots. And 1 minute later, I had a production video of 2 robots with a guy that's sort of with a mustache, like, who's basically saying, it's time to make the robots, right? And so to me, and there's so many examples of the power of it. And so I think that's in 2 years. It's, yes, there's all this big infrastructure, but that capability, like, it's a kind of magic.
Totally.
And so we've got chat, we've got, LLMs and chat, we've got now video, and right behind it, we really do have robotics. And I think that kind of automation coming in and driving all the automation that can happen with text, video, and robotic automation, it's why the investments are what they are.
It makes so much sense. And I think you're right, the physicality of it is when I think we'll have a much greater appreciation and realization of how much our lives will change in the positive with these things. By the way, I do appreciate that, because I make that joke, and I'm not sure many people remember time to make the donuts.
Yeah, because we're getting up there now, right? My wife, She remembers it. It's been our joke. It's now been revised to time to make the robots.
I'm gonna totally. I think
Yeah.
you need to coin that, and I think
Yeah.
you also need to make like a Switch shirt that says "Time to make the robots."
Yeah.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you for the wonderful time today.
It's great to
It
be
has
here.
been so wonderful to
Yeah,
have you here.
it's always a pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.